Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We're just going to wait a few minutes for everybody to join the session, and then we'll get started shortly. All right, so it looks like we have a good group of people who have joined so far. So we'll go ahead and get ready. So thank you so much for joining us today at the Virtual Visit Week Career and Professional Development session. My name is Katya Grayton-Hines. I work in the admissions office as the admissions assistant. And leading today's session is Sheila Krishnan. She's the Director of Career and Professional Development. In the office, Sheila provides career guidance to students of all backgrounds with a focus on public health, nonprofit, and social science research organizations. She helps students in all aspects of career development, including career exploration, job search strategy, networking, interview preparation, and salary negotiation. If you have any questions during the session, please feel free to send them using the Q&A function. At the end of the session, we'll have time for questions. And I'll turn it over to Sheila.
Great. Thank you so much, Katya. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I'm happy to be with you. I'm going to share a handful of slides to give you an overview into my office and the services and resources that we provide. So we are the Office of Career and Professional Development, and we sit under the Office of Student Services at Harvard Chan. The mission of our office is to support all students and alumni where they are in their individual career journeys to empower them in building careers that fulfill the greater mission of advancing public health. There are a few ways that we do this. One of them is individualized career coaching, where you can schedule one-on-one appointments with our career coaches, professional competency and skill development that we offer through workshops and small group settings, network building, and education around career paths, industries, and potential employers. So we work primarily with Harvard Chan master's students, as well as doctoral students, our alumni, and our partner employers. These are the other members of my team. Next to me in this picture is Andrea Heller, who is one of our career coaches and advisors. Next to her is Allison McAleer, our Associate Director of Career Coaching and Education. They both are certified as leadership and executive coaches and provide specific career advising for public health careers. On the bottom row is Maria Ramos, who's our Senior Program Coordinator, and Courtney Burke, who's our Assistant Director of Employer Relations. So they are primarily our employer relations team and work with getting employers to host events, post jobs, to stay connected with the Harvard Chan community. So I know some of you are considering applying to different degree programs at the School of Public Health. You may have had a few years of work experience. You may have a number of years of work experience. We often say that some people think of their career as sort of a straight line or a linear path, but from being in this work for quite a long time, The reality is that careers take many twists and turns. And so we're really here to support you no matter what part of your career journey you're on. We really think that your individual background, your individual goals, values all play a role in the decisions you make around your career. So we're here to help you clarify those and articulate them to give you some guidance along the way. The career framework that we use kind of reflects this idea that we see career development as a very holistic process, and the framework is the foundation for everything that our office offers. So starting on the top, we help students with articulating your strengths and interests, reflecting on what your work values are, what the ideal work environment is for you, what kinds of things energize you versus drain you, and what kind of environments might be the best fit for you. So we have different tools and skills that we use in coaching to help with the self-reflection piece. The next step is exploring your career and education options. So you may have chosen your specific field of study or degree program, and we're here kind of at the next step. So what will you do with this degree afterwards, and how will you connect the skills and interests to the sectors that are hiring people in that area? And then developing the skills and experiences. So if you're new to the job search, or if you are seasoned in your career, you may still need help with reviewing a resume, writing a strong cover letter, being prepared for interviews, learning about the specific types of interviews that are used in different sectors. So a consulting interview is may be very different than a nonprofit interview. And then next, connecting with people and opportunities. So networking may be a dreaded and scary word that you'll hear often. And we really try to encourage people to build the skill around curiosity and connecting with others, no matter where you are in your career. So if you're early career and you're new to the job search versus later on in career and you're trying to advance in your organization, there's different reasons to use networking, and we're here to help with building those skills. Here are a few of the things that the office does offer. Sometimes if you had an experience with your undergraduate career services organization, or if you are at institutions that didn't have undergraduate career services, people may have misperceptions of what our office can do, or see us typically as like a resume review and that's all. But we really are here to help with the self and career exploration phase. We're here to help you review your skills and experiences, identify gaps, and work on articulating those. We're here to help prepare your application materials. A significant portion of our students who come to master's programs do apply to further education, whether it's a PhD program or medical school. So we are able to support and helping with the application. Learning how to market yourself and tell your career story. So much of getting a job and career development and navigation is communication. So we focus a lot on that. And then we host a number of opportunities for you to network with alumni and employers. And we're here to help you interview successfully and negotiate your job offers and salaries. If you choose to come to Harvard Chan, you'll get access to a lot of different platforms and resources. Career Connect is the jobs platform that we use for the school, where you see job postings and can schedule career coaching appointments. We do have a platform called InterStride, which is for students who are non-US citizens. If you're an international student, it helps you filter out jobs from kind of the top H-1B sponsored employers and CAP exempt employers, and it gives you information about where other international students have landed jobs after their time here. We're very mindful that the US job search can be a challenging and intimidating experience. We try to provide a lot of information and resources and support very early on in your program so that you get started early, and InterStride is one of those tools. We have a Canvas site where we can post a lot of asynchronous career information. We have a very comprehensive career toolkit that's built on the framework that I mentioned. And any of the workshops that we run, or that employers run, or alumni panels that are virtual, we'll record and put them on the Canvas site. So if you're considering an online program and kind of weighing the pros and cons of it, we do try to make sure all of our resources are accessible if you are a student who's not here in person. Engage is another platform that the school uses for a lot of our student affairs events, where we also post our events and workshops. And then you will gain access to the Harvard Chan alumni directory and the Harvard-wide directory as well for networking. I wanted to just clarify a little bit about the difference between coaching and advising. Often students, may think about advising or may think about mentoring, but aren't quite clear on how these approaches are different. You typically get assigned a faculty advisor who may have experience in the specific, kind of research area or field of study that you're in. As in our office, as we're trained as coaches and advisors, where the coaching approach is really kind of coach centered or student centered. So we use a lot of active listening. We try to help you kind of articulate what your goals and what your skills are. You drive the conversation, and then we can help guide you along the way. In terms of the advising process, there are times when you just need answers about resume review or interview preparation, where we can share our specific knowledge and expertise that we've gained in this area to help you with those specific tasks. So there's a little bit of a distinction. It's helpful to understand how coaching, advising, mentoring, all of those things have a similar goal in helping students, but differ in their approaches. Again, for our virtual services, we do offer one-on-one career coaching appointments over Zoom. So again, it's not only for in-person students, and sometimes our students, even if they are in person, it's just more convenient to schedule a one-on-one appointment by Zoom. And then, as I mentioned, this is a picture of our Canvas site that hosts a lot of our asynchronous materials. This is the comprehensive career toolkit. Just to give you a quick picture of that, it comes with a lot of self-guided activities and worksheets. It's interactive and something that you can use on your own or in your coaching appointments when you meet with us. Lastly, there's a lot of events throughout the year through our office, through other offices at Chan. We really try to tell students that it's probably impossible for you to do all that's offered. So it's really helpful for you to choose and to come into the program being a little bit focused on what you want to get out of any of your extracurricular activities. So our office hosts usually 4 to 5 themed career weeks throughout the academic year. And we typically start with consulting because consulting deadlines often happen very often or very early in the cycle. And the themed career weeks often include like a networking breakfast. You can see the picture on the bottom right where we bring in either alumni or employers or tap students at the school who have experience in consulting to help answer any questions about that industry and what the work is like. We have a few employer information sessions. We usually have an alumni panel as well. So a variety of different kinds of events throughout that week that are focused on a specific industry or sector. So we're gearing up for our next Climate and Sustainability Week. And there's a university-wide career fair through the Salata Institute for Climate and Sustainability on November 1st. So a lot of different events and activities to help you explore different career paths and to help you understand the skills that are needed to succeed in that area. Again, for international students, the Harvard International Office is a really important resource if you decide to come here that helps with visa and OPT applications and all of that. We do specific career boot camps for our international students and bring in guest speakers who were international students themselves to talk about navigating the US job search, just so that you're aware of how it might be different, how to navigate the application systems and all of that. And then lastly, fellowships are a common thing that people apply to after a public health degree. So like the presidential management fellowships, if you're interested in federal government, that's kind of the primary pipeline program for leadership development. Fulbright, there are Harvard traveling fellowships. There are many, many, many fellowships out there. So we do host a number of sessions or are able to guide and advise you if those are things that you're interested in exploring. I want to shift to talking a little about employer engagement because I know one of the things you're probably thinking about is what am I going to do with my degree when I'm done, even though that might feel very far away at this point. So how do employers engage with our office and engage with students at the School of Public Health? One of the main ways, obviously, is posting jobs and opportunities through our platform. One of the things that's helpful about that platform is that it's a real job. It's not a job on a website that you don't know if there's somebody behind it or not. So those are vetted jobs that we approve that are available there. And we host a number of panels, info sessions, and office hours to connect with employers in different ways. Sometimes it's alumni who are coming back to recruit for the organization that they're in, and they can actually give you kind of their firsthand experience of what classes or what skills at the school were most helpful to them in their role. We do host a fall career expo along with the Harvard Medical School. It's a Longwood campus one. And then there's a handful of different career expos that are Harvard-wide that you have access to attend as well. So if you're interested in data analytics specifically, or biotech and pharma, global health, there's a number of different career expos throughout the year. And then we will do site visits to employers who are willing to host students at their offices in the Boston area. Since COVID, obviously many people are not working in person most of the time. So a lot of offices aren't necessarily full enough to make sense to host a group of students, but those employers who are open to having students come visit the office and sharing more about their organization, we do offer that through our office. I want to make sure that you know if you search for the Career and Professional Development Office website on the Harvard Chan page, there is a tab with our graduate employment outcomes. So if you're wondering, how long does it take to get a job? Within 12 months, 95% of our students typically have a job or have a plan for continuing their education. You can see the different sectors that our students tend to go into. So very heavily in hospitals, healthcare, academic institutions, but also significant amount in for-profits, whether it's consulting or biotech and pharma, government, nonprofits, and then a handful who are self-employed. If you click on that link on the website, you will also see handouts similar to the one on the page where it says Master of Public Health 45 credit. So depending on the degree program that you're considering, you can find a little bit of drill down information. And then by field of study, you can see a sample of job titles and employers there as well. So I encourage you to take a look at that to become more familiar with what alumni from the degree program you're considering are actually doing. This is just a snapshot of a sample list of employers where our students have gone on to work. Again, hospitals in the area, hospitals across the US, nonprofits, government organizations. So there's really a wide variety. Public health is such a wonderful interdisciplinary field. So you can really take your skills to a variety of different sectors. And some of that, sometimes students come here with a specific idea of what they're going to do and then realize there's maybe so much more out there that they hadn't considered. So we're really excited to help you explore those options. I wanted to share a few quotes from our employer partners. We've started a new process where we gain feedback from employers every year to ask them about the skills of early career graduates or alumni and some of the ways that they can be prepared for the hiring process. And then we use that to inform the kind of programming and coaching that we offer. So there were some quotes about, salary negotiation. That's something that I think is really important if you haven't had experience negotiating your salary prior to coming here. I really encourage students to take advantage of the workshops and the coaching that we offer around that and how to do the research to know what salaries you should be asking for. Thinking about the essential public health skills and competencies, you'll get incredible training here in research skills and different methods and learn about different policies and topics, but knowing how to translate that to the job setting and making that leap is sometimes a place that can be a challenge for students, for graduates. So thinking about during your time here, how to get as much real world experience that you need. Adaptability and ability to learn quickly on the job, and then being proactive in communication. So over the last several years on our graduate employment survey, we always ask about whether graduates are working completely in person, completely remotely, or in a hybrid setting. And it's about 53% now that say they're either working completely remotely or in a hybrid setting. So just being aware that when you're building relationships in a new organization after graduating, that may look a little bit differently than it has in the past. And I'm not sure what everyone's current work situation is like, but being able to translate the skills that you've developed and working remotely or working with teams that are dispersed and being really thoughtful about the communication. These were just a few of the insights that our employers had shared with us, but it's also something to think about when you are thinking which area of professional development you really want to improve on. I'm coming to the end of the slides. I know that there's a handful of questions. I want to give you kind of 3 action steps of what to do next with all this information that I just gave you. I encourage you to visit the graduate outcomes data on our website, visit our career website a bit. You can learn more about the resources that are available. And then one of the best ways to see what are other graduates doing with this specific degree is really using LinkedIn. I would encourage you to go to any school's page on LinkedIn that you're considering applying to and clicking on the alumni tab. And there you can either search by the degree or the sector or the location, and get a good sense of what kinds of jobs and titles are people going into afterwards. And it may feel very early to do that since you're kind of deciding what program, but it's helpful information to kind of inform a longer term plan. So hopefully 3 quick action steps that you can take after this session. So I'll stop there and I'm happy to take questions.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. We do have a couple questions today. So the first question is, do you traditionally see students while they're in their degree programs getting part-time internships during the program? And is that something that your office can help with?
So it depends on what program. If you're looking at an MPH program, you're required to do a practicum, which involves a certain number of hours during the academic year in the summer. And so some people may find it too much if you have to do a practicum requirement and your course is to do another internship. But an internship can count for your practicum experience. We work very closely with our Office of Field Education and Practice. They actually share the same jobs board, so practice opportunities are posted there. So we can help with some aspects of that search, but if you have specific kind of practicum requirement questions, we encourage students to look there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. The next question is, could you share some of the ways that newly admitted students or students beginning their graduate studies at Harvard Chan can connect and engage with your office?
Sure, absolutely. So if you decide to come here, we typically send out an email in June or July prior to the start of the academic year that gives you access to Career Connect. And then you're welcome to schedule a coaching appointment before coming. So either in July or August, if you have more specific questions. We are also always at orientation, and then you have the opportunity to meet us at orientation. And once you get here, our office hosts drop-in hours 3 days a week. So you can come and stop by the office Mondays, Wednesdays, or Thursdays, just to, if you have a quick question, if you just want to say hello. And the other thing our office does is that we have a student advisory board. So we find that some students are really, interested in career development or have had some experience in hiring or supervising, and are able to give us feedback throughout the year. We will send out an application to be on the student advisory board. So that's another way to be more involved with us throughout the year.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. The next question we have is, does your office facilitate connections with employers outside of the Boston area? And then what kinds of opportunities are there for students to engage and network with employers both locally and outside of New England?
Yeah, so absolutely. Many of our alumni don't stay in the Boston area. Many alumni go to, New York, DC, Atlanta, California, other places across the United States, Canada, Europe. So while we're a bit focused on the US job search, we do work with employers outside of Boston and New England. We host a lot of virtual information sessions, and that has made it more accessible for employers to join us. And there was a second part to that question, I think, Katya. Could you repeat that?
Yeah, the second part was just what kind of opportunities are there for students to engage and network with those employers both locally and outside of New England?
Sure. The Harvard Chan Alumni Office hosts an alumni weekend every fall. So many alumni come back for that, and students are usually invited to attend. So that's one networking opportunity. There's also alumni chapters in different cities. Boston has one, New York has one, and they host events at a lot of big conferences like the American Public Health Association conference. There'll be an alumni reception. So there's different ways for students to engage with alumni, alumni and employers at those different kinds of events.
Amazing, thank you. One of our attendees is wondering if there's any companies that come to campus to network and interview students.
Yeah, so networking or interviewing on campus has changed quite significantly since COVID happened. We used to have a lot of companies do on-campus recruiting, and now a lot of it has moved to virtual recruiting. So you'll find that there are companies that will host Harvard Chan specific events, but they're not necessarily doing in-person on-campus recruiting. There's a handful of different either consulting or large health insurers that recruit with us every year that do kind of targeted events for our students.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. Another question that's coming up is what additional steps is your department taking considering how rough the job market is for a lot of graduates around the United States right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we are available to all alumni, and particularly in the first year after you graduate, we meet with a lot of students kind of throughout the job search. A lot of it is making sure that people are, doing all the things that they should do, and there's no kind of magic bullet to it. It's really making sure you're applying, you're networking, you're thinking about kind of your job search strategy. What's your plan A, plan B, plan C? And so some of our role has really just been ongoing encouragement because we know how demoralizing a long job search can be. Also providing education about what industries are hiring or not hiring, what we're hearing about trends, what information we're getting from employers. So to help guide the job search and help students focus in an area where they may have more luck. But we recognize it's a tough job market. We pay very close attention to kind of hiring trends and try to provide good information and education and support.
Fantastic. Thank you. Another question we have is what kind of support does your office offer for students who aren't quite sure what type of career they want to pursue after they graduate?
Yeah, that's great. I love that question. We really are here to help you talk through kind of what are some things that you're considering. So you don't have to come to our office knowing what you're going to do. You may have a few ideas, and we're going to help you kind of flush those ideas out and then figure out next steps on how to explore them. So maybe you think you want to work in nonprofits or you think you want to do health equity work. And then we can talk through, well, why do you think you want to do those things? What kind of skills do you want to use? How are you going to connect what you're getting in your curriculum to the skills that are needed in the field? And then what are the options out there? So whether we connect you to alums that we know or employers that we know to have exploratory conversations, those are all different kinds of things we can do in the career exploration process.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for answering that one. I kind of have a big overarching question. From your perspective in career and professional development, what final big piece of advice would you give to somebody who's weighing different graduate school options?
That's a great question. I would really encourage you, like I said, to look at the graduate outcomes data for each school to become familiar with what alumni are doing with their degree afterwards so that you can see if that department or that program will be well suited to help you in your career goals.
Fantastic. Thank you. Let me see if anybody else has any questions. Feel free to put them in the question and answer section. I'll wait another couple moments to see if anybody puts anything in. Here's another question that's come up. How does your office help international students who are looking to continue their employment in the United States after graduating?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have a large international student population at the school. We host a number of events. So Elizabeth Capuano from the Harvard International Office is the international advisor who works with Harvard Chan students, and she's really great about hosting sessions on OPT or CPT and any of those kind of questions very early on in the semester. We bring in Dan Beaudry, who is an expert on the US job search. We have his books available for him to really talk about the job search strategy that you need. We know that there's common questions like, what do I answer to the question on, like, will you need work authorization now or in the future? We hear that all the time, and international students don't know how to answer that. Also thinking about what industry, so hospitals tend to be CAP exempt organizations. So we offer a handful of speakers, we bring in a group of immigration lawyers, and then we help students in thinking about the job search strategy. And we're also aware of some of the kind of unique challenges that international students face.
Perfect. Thank you. The next question that's popped up is what kind of support can your office provide for students who are working to found and fund their own nonprofit advocacy organizations after graduation?
Yeah, I would say we're not necessarily an expert on how to start that and how to start your own nonprofit. We do have resources available, or we can make connections to other folks around the school who have experience in that area or alumni who have done that particular thing. And we're helpful. We're kind of here to maybe work with you together to help find the resources that would be available or would be helpful to you. A similar question we get is about students who want to start their own business or startup or venture. There are a number of opportunities across Harvard. The Harvard Innovation Lab is one that many of our students have been able to get involved with and start their own ventures through. So lots available in the ecosystem.
Fantastic. I am seeing a lot of admissions related questions, so I'll put our email in the chat. If you have any admissions related questions, feel free to reach out directly to our office. But I think that's most of our questions. So if you have any final remarks, I think we should be ready to wrap up.
You're welcome to, I can put my office email in the chat as well. It's just careers@hsph.harvard.edu. If you have any follow-up questions after this session, please feel free to reach out to my office. And I wish you the best in making your decision about graduate school.
Perfect. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you to everyone who attended the session. It was lovely having you here.
Thanks, Katya. Take care.